The cold, sterile corridors of Concordia Space Station hummed with tension. Ambassador Woon Lee adjusted his dark blue diplomatic uniform, his fingers tracing the subtle embroidery of the United Earth insignia. He knew this meeting would be different. The alien delegation from the distant star system had been unusually demanding. Diplomatic negotiations had been ongoing for months, discussing resource sharing and interstellar travel rights. The station's neutral environment typically ensured safety, but today something felt different. Hannah Kim, his chief aide, had been unusually quiet, her eyes scanning the surrounding areas with more intensity than usual. As Wong entered the circular negotiation chamber, the alien representatives were already seated. Their scaled skin glistened under the artificial lighting, each movement calculated and precise. The lead negotiator, a towering figure with multiple eyes, watched Wong with an unsettling intensity. Minutes into the discussion, subtle changes began to emerge. The alien delegates seemed more aggressive, their communication more fragmented. Wong noticed small details, the slight shift in their body language, the barely perceptible tension in their postures. Suddenly, everything happened quickly. A high-pitched sound disrupted the chamber's environmental systems. Before anyone could react, a series of precise energy pulses erupted from seemingly hidden locations. Wong felt the first blast, a sudden, sharp pain that spread through his body. Hannah Kim's training kicked in immediately. She lunged towards Wong, her hand reaching for the emergency communication device. But the attackers were methodical, neutralizing communication systems within seconds. The other diplomatic staff were systematically incapacitated, their movements controlled and synchronized. Wong's last conscious moment was seeing Hannah's determined face, her hand reaching towards him, trying to provide protection. The world around him became a blur of artificial light and controlled chaos. When Earth received the transmission hours later, it was clinical and precise. Ambassador Woon Lee had been assassinated during a diplomatic meeting. No survivors from the human delegation remained. The alien civilization responsible had left no trace, no direct evidence, just a calculated act of aggression. In the command centers across Earth's major cities, screens flickered with the devastating news. Military leaders, political representatives, and strategic planners began to assemble. The diplomatic channels that had been carefully maintained for decades were now irrelevant. The United Earth government's emergency protocols, long considered a theoretical exercise, were about to become very real. Generations of peaceful exploration and diplomatic engagement would now give way to something entirely different. Seok Choi, the defense minister, stood in the central command room, his eyes scanning the initial reports. His fingers touched a seemingly innocuous button, the first step in activating the Total War Protocol, a protocol designed not just for retaliation, but for complete and total response. The assassination wasn't just an attack on an individual or a diplomatic mission. It was an attack on humanity's fundamental belief in peaceful coexistence, and the response would be proportional, calculated, and absolute. In military bases, shipyards, and research facilities across Earth and its colonies, systems began to hum with a newfound energy. Soldiers who had trained for scenarios they thought would never happen now found themselves preparing for something very real. The alien civilization that had executed this attack had made a critical miscalculation. They believed they were eliminating a threat, removing a potential obstacle to their expansionist plans. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous. Humanity was about to show the galaxy what happens when diplomacy fails and survival becomes the only acceptable outcome. The first phase had begun. The diplomatic incident was over. The total war was just beginning. The news of Ambassador Woon Lee's assassination spread across Earth like wildfire. In military command centers, research facilities, and government buildings, a transformation began that would change humanity forever. Seok Choi, the defense minister, called an emergency global conference. Representatives from every human colony and Earth's major nations gathered in a secure virtual meeting. The room was silent, filled with a collective sense of shock and growing anger. "We are activating Total War Protocol," Choi announced, his voice calm but firm. The protocol was more than a military strategy. It was a complete societal mobilization, unlike anything humanity had ever attempted. Factories that once produced consumer goods began shifting to military production within hours. Shipyards that had been constructing peaceful exploration vessels now transformed into massive warship construction zones. Every industrial resource would be redirected towards a single purpose: preparation for potential conflict. In universities and research centers, scientists who had been working on theoretical technologies were suddenly given unlimited resources: quantum communication systems, advanced energy weapons, and next-generation spacecraft designs that were once considered too experimental were now fast-tracked. Unicorn, the military's chief strategic coordinator, began implementing a comprehensive training program. Every able-bodied individual with technical skills was now considered a potential military asset. Former programmers became cybersecurity specialists. Engineers were transformed into weapons system designers. The entire human population was being quietly militarized. Orbital defense systems that had been passive for decades were now being upgraded with the most advanced targeting technologies. Automated weapon platforms were positioned around Earth and human colonies, creating an impenetrable defensive network. The global economic system was restructured overnight. Non-essential consumer production was minimized. Resources were channeled into military research, production, and training. Banks and financial institutions were given direct instructions to support the war effort. Communication networks began sharing encrypted information about the potential threat. Every human colony received detailed briefings about the diplomatic assassination. The message was clear. This was no longer about diplomacy, but survival. Daishin, the chief strategic planner, developed comprehensive scenarios for potential conflict. Using advanced artificial intelligence and complex simulation systems, they mapped out thousands of potential engagement strategies. Each scenario was more detailed and precise than traditional military planning. Space exploration vessels were quickly retrofitted with weapon systems. Research ships became potential combat platforms. Even scientific missions were now viewed through a military lens. Humanity was transforming its entire approach to interstellar presence. In military training facilities, the approach changed dramatically. Soldiers were no longer just taught traditional combat techniques. They were trained in adaptive warfare, psychological resilience, and advanced technological integration. Every soldier became a potential strategic asset. Artificial intelligence systems were developed to support military operations. These weren't just simple computational tools, but sophisticated strategic assistants capable of processing massive amounts of information and generating complex battle strategies in milliseconds. The global population's mindset was shifting. What was once considered peaceful exploration was now viewed as potential strategic positioning. Every human colony, every space station, every research outpost became a potential front in a possible galactic conflict. Recruitment centers saw unprecedented numbers of volunteers. People who had never considered military service were now stepping forward, driven by a combination of patriotism, anger, and a newfound sense of collective purpose. Communication with other alien civilizations was carefully controlled. Earth's diplomatic channels remained open, but with a new, more assertive tone. The message was clear. Humanity would no longer be seen as a passive, easily manipulated species. As weeks passed, the transformation became evident. Humanity was no longer just preparing for a potential conflict. It was becoming a civilization fundamentally designed for total war. Every system, every resource, every individual was now part of a massive, coordinated machine. The alien civilization that had executed the assassination would soon realize the magnitude of their mistake. Humanity was awakening, and the galaxy was about to witness something unprecedented. The first strike came without warning. Jin Wang, the primary tactical commander, had spent weeks planning a precision operation that would send a clear message to the alien civilization responsible for the diplomatic assassination. Earth's new quantum disruption weapons were unlike anything seen in galactic warfare. Developed in secret research facilities, these weapons could penetrate the most advanced defensive systems with surgical accuracy. The targets were carefully selected, not just military installations, but the critical infrastructure that sustained the alien civilization's technological superiority. Multiple strike teams were deployed simultaneously across different star systems. Each team was equipped with advanced AI-driven tactical systems that could adapt and respond to unexpected challenges in microseconds. The human military had transformed from a traditional fighting force to a highly intelligent, rapidly evolving strategic network. The first wave of attacks targeted communication systems. Entire networks of alien military command structures were suddenly blinded, their coordination systems completely neutralized. Massive energy stations went dark. Defensive systems collapsed without warning. In one critical moment, a series of precision strikes destroyed 3 major alien fleet staging areas. The attacks were so precise that it seemed almost impossible. Entire military complexes disappeared in controlled explosions, leaving nothing but debris and confusion. The alien civilization had believed they were untouchable. Their technological superiority had made them arrogant, convinced that humanity was a minor species easily manipulated. Now, they were experiencing something entirely unexpected. Intelligence gathered during these strikes revealed something even more interesting. The alien civilization had been planning a long-term strategy of gradual human subjugation. The diplomatic assassination was just one step in a much larger plan of systematic elimination. Jin Huang watched the operation unfold from the central command center. Holographic displays showed real-time information from multiple strike zones. Each successful operation was marked with a precise blue indicator, creating a complex map of strategic success. The human military had transformed warfare into an art form. Every strike was calculated, every movement precise. The AI systems supporting the operation could predict potential counter-responses and adjust strategies in real time. It was warfare beyond traditional understanding. Earth's other colonies were activated as strategic support points. What was once a collection of separated human settlements was now a unified, coordinated network of military and strategic resources. Each colony became a potential launching point for further operations. Smaller alien civilizations began to take notice. The quick, decisive nature of human retaliation was sending a message across the galaxy. Humanity was no longer a passive species to be controlled or manipulated. The quantum disruption weapons proved to be a game changer. Traditional alien defensive systems simply couldn't comprehend the technology. It was like comparing ancient stone weapons to modern laser systems. The technological gap was becoming apparent. Communication intercepts revealed complete confusion among the alien leadership. Their military commanders couldn't understand how humanity had developed such advanced strategic capabilities so quickly. The human response was beyond their comprehension. Each successful strike was more than a military operation. It was a statement. Humanity was declaring to the galaxy that they would no longer accept being victims. The diplomatic assassination had awakened something profound. A collective human determination that transcended traditional understanding of conflict. Jin Huang allowed himself a momentary smile. The first phase of retaliation was working perfectly. The alien civilization would soon understand the true meaning of their mistake. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was just getting started. As the operations continued, one thing became clear. This was no longer just about revenge. This was about establishing a new order in the interstellar community. Humanity was writing a new chapter of galactic history, one precise strike at a time. The first retaliatory strikes were complete, but this was only the beginning. The galactic landscape was changing rapidly. Yunji Park stood at the central command station, watching as humanity's strategic operations continued to reshape the known universe. The initial retaliatory strikes had been more than just a military response. They were a complete transformation of interstellar dynamics. Smaller alien civilizations began to notice a significant shift. What had once been a complex network of power dynamics was now being rewritten by human intervention. The alien civilization responsible for the diplomatic assassination found itself increasingly isolated, its once powerful infrastructure crumbling under precise human attacks. Intelligence reports revealed a stunning development. The targeted civilization's internal communication networks were breaking down. Their military command structures, once considered impenetrable, were now vulnerable and fragmented. Humanity had discovered something more powerful than traditional warfare, a method of strategic deconstruction that went beyond physical combat. Imji examined the holographic displays showing the expanding human influence. Each blue marker represented a strategic point of control, a network of human-influenced star systems growing exponentially. The transformation was calculated, methodical, and ruthlessly efficient. The quantum disruption technology developed by human scientists proved to be a game-changer. It wasn't just a weapon. It was a complete system of technological dominance. Alien defensive mechanisms that had taken centuries to develop were becoming obsolete in a matter of weeks. Communication intercepts revealed growing panic among alien leadership. They had miscalculated humanity's potential. What they believed was a simple diplomatic elimination had awakened a species with unprecedented adaptive capabilities. Human strategic thinking was moving faster than any known civilization's response mechanisms. Military training centers on Earth and human colonies were now producing a new type of soldier. These weren't just traditional warriors, but strategic thinkers equipped with advanced technological integration. Every individual was now part of a larger, more complex system of galactic strategy. Smaller alien civilizations began to send quiet diplomatic signals. They were observing, analyzing, and slowly understanding that humanity was no longer a passive species to be manipulated. The balance of power was shifting in ways no one had anticipated. Artificial intelligence systems developed by human researchers were proving to be the true game changers. These weren't simple computational tools, but complex strategic networks that could analyze and adapt faster than any known biological intelligence. Each operation became a learning experience, rapidly improving human capabilities. The economic impact was equally significant. Resources previously used for exploration and peaceful development were now channeled into strategic technological advancement. Every human colony, every research station became a potential strategic asset. Yoonji understood that this was more than just a military operation. This was a complete reimagining of humanity's role in the galaxy. The diplomatic assassination had triggered a transformation that would be studied for generations. Intercepted communications revealed that the alien civilization was beginning to understand the true depth of their mistake. Their attempts at diplomatic resolution were now met with calculated indifference. Humanity was writing its own rules of engagement. Space exploration vessels that were once designed for peaceful missions were now retrofitted with advanced defensive and offensive capabilities. The line between scientific exploration and military strategy had become completely blurred. The quantum communication networks developed during this period would revolutionize interstellar communication. Humanity was not just responding to a threat. They were fundamentally redesigning the technological landscape of the known universe. As weeks turned into months, the transformation became increasingly apparent. Smaller alien civilizations began to realign their strategies. The once dominant aggressive civilization found itself increasingly isolated, its power structures systematically dismantled. Yoonji knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had discovered something profound, the ability to transform conflict into a strategic art form. The galaxy would never be the same again. The transformation was complete, but the journey was just starting. The final confrontation began in the dark expanse of the alien civilization's home system. Sung Min Kim stood on the bridge of the United Earth flagship, his eyes fixed on the holographic displays showing the complex battle strategy. Humanity's fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Hundreds of ships moved with a precision that seemed almost impossible, each vessel connected through an advanced quantum network that allowed instantaneous communication and strategic adaptation. The ships weren't just machines. They were living, thinking entities guided by human intelligence and advanced artificial systems. The alien civilization's homeworld loomed in the distance, a massive planet surrounded by what was once considered an impenetrable defensive network. Previous civilizations had attempted to challenge this system and failed. Humanity would be different. The first wave of attack came silently. Quantum disruption waves began to systematically disable the planet's defensive systems. Communication networks collapsed. Orbital platforms went dark. The alien civilization was being surgically disconnected from its own infrastructure. Some men watched as the AI-driven tactical systems mapped out every possible defensive response. The alien military was predictable. They had relied on the same defensive strategies for centuries. Humanity's approach was fluid, constantly changing, impossible to anticipate. Specialized strike teams began their precision operations. These weren't traditional soldiers, but hybrid warriors, part human, part technological interface. Each team could adapt to changing battlefield conditions in microseconds. Their training had prepared them for this moment. The planet's surface began to change. Critical military installations disappeared in controlled explosions. Communication centers became silent. The alien civilization's leadership found themselves cut off, isolated, unable to coordinate any meaningful resistance. What made humanity's approach unique was its complete understanding of the enemy. Years of intelligence gathering, advanced technological analysis, and strategic planning had led to this moment. Every move was calculated, every action precise. Smaller alien civilizations watched the confrontation with a mixture of fear and fascination. Humanity was demonstrating something unprecedented, a complete reimagining of interstellar conflict. This wasn't about destruction, but systematic transformation. The alien civilization's leadership attempted desperate communication. Their messages were met with calculated silence. Humanity had moved beyond traditional diplomatic interactions. This was about establishing a new galactic order. Advanced weapon systems that had been developed in secret research facilities now proved their worth. Energy weapons that could disable entire planetary defense systems with a single pulse. Quantum communication disruptors that could isolate entire military networks. As the operation continued, it became clear that this was more than a military confrontation. This was a complete systemic dismantling of a civilization that had believed itself untouchable. Every strategic point was carefully targeted, every resource systematically neutralized. Some men understood the deeper significance of this moment. This wasn't just about revenge for the diplomatic assassination. This was about establishing a new paradigm of interstellar interaction. Humanity was declaring its place in the galactic community. The final stages of the confrontation were almost surgical. Critical infrastructure collapsed. Military command structures disintegrated. The alien civilization's technological superiority became irrelevant in the face of human adaptive capabilities. Communication intercepts revealed complete confusion among the alien leadership. They couldn't comprehend how a species they had considered insignificant could achieve such a comprehensive strategic victory. As the confrontation reached its conclusion, something unexpected happened. Instead of complete destruction, humanity began implementing a systematic reconstruction protocol. The goal wasn't elimination, but transformation. The last communication from the alien leadership was a formal surrender. Their civilization would be fundamentally restructured, their aggressive expansionist policies permanently dismantled. Sun Min allowed himself a moment of reflection. The diplomatic assassination that had started this journey now seemed like a distant memory. Humanity had not just responded, they had fundamentally changed the nature of interstellar conflict. The final confrontation was complete. A new chapter in galactic history had begun.